Well, I've been writing for over 30 years, and in my early years of writing, I focused on issues that were interesting to me professionally. But around the time of the mid-90s, when I was at midlife, I felt that I wanted to start writing more personally and talk more about my personal experiences, because I felt that if I was going through something, so were a lot of other women at the same stage. So I wrote a book on the empty nest after my children left home. I wrote a book on women's friendships when I noticed some changes in my friendships. I wrote a yoga book for my students because I teach yoga to women at midlife and beyond. And my last book was Coming Home to Yourself, and that was a book of 18 women's stories, and they all experienced some kind of a turning point later in life, which was the catalyst that brought them home to their true selves. The women in that book were between the ages of 55 and 75. So when I finished that book, I started thinking about the older age group, those women over 75, and realizing that there had been very little written about this age group. Well, this book features 12 portraits of Jewish women. All the women are over 75, and the oldest, in fact, is 101. And I wanted to show women who are leading active, engaged lives, because we all know that women are living longer, they're healthier now, and that's what I wanted to look at. And I was interested in looking at how they got that, what contributed to their longevity and their vitality. And one of the things that I think is very important is how resilient they are. Because there's change, we all go through change so many times during our lives. Some of it is positive, some of it we can't control. And how we react and respond to those changes and transitions is very telling. And what I wanted to look at was how these women's earlier lives affected their life as an older woman and helped her cope as a woman in her later years. Well, I think any woman could read the book and find something valuable in it. I think that probably the largest readership will be women at midlife who are approaching, maybe in their late 50s and 60s, and approaching these later years. They're closer to it, so it's more on their mind, and they're looking more for ways to cope and understanding of what's ahead. And there really hasn't been a lot written about the privilege of aging. It really is a privilege because so many people don't have that opportunity, and this is a time for us to really use for ourselves and use in a different way than we've lived the rest of our lives.